The Song of Ribhu, Chapter 3. All is illusory, all is only consciousness, the worship of the Attributeless. Ribhu said, I shall continue further with what was told by the Supreme Shiva. The various beings and worlds are illusory. Existence and non-existence are illusory. Creation, sustenance, and dissolution are illusory. Widespread enjoyment and attachments are illusory. The senses and such others are illusory. Brahma is illusory. The Vedas and other scriptures are illusory. All words are illusory. The Supreme Brahman, the mass of bliss, is the only reality. The variety of woes and wealth are illusory. The wonderful home and property are illusory. Worthy guru and disciple are illusory. The qualities, good and bad, are illusory. Exit and entrance are illusory. The closed and the open are illusory. Numbers are illusory. Any sentence and any meaning are illusory. The here and the hereafter are illusory. Fear is illusory. The unsullied Supreme Brahman is the only reality. The Puranas and Itihasas, legendary lore and epics, that are cited are illusory. Cause and effect are illusory. Ishwara, the Lord, is illusory. The expansive world is illusory. Living beings are illusory. Bondage, liberation, happiness and sorrow are all illusory. Gods and demons are illusory. Meditation is illusory. Pure mind and words are illusory. The direct and the indirect meanings are illusory. The Supreme Brahman of the nature of consciousness is the only reality. The objects apprehended by knowledge are illusory. The objects reflected upon by intelligence are illusory. The objects thought of by the mind are illusory. The objects described by words are illusory. The objects that relate to the senses are illusory. The objects that can be pointed out as these are illusory. All objects that extend as opposite pairs are illusory. The speckless Supreme Brahman is the only reality. The ear and the sound it hears are illusory. The sensitive skin and the touch it feels are illusory. The eye and the form it sees are illusory. The tongue and the taste it feels are illusory. The nose and the scent it smells are illusory. Oblations and the gods they propitiate are illusory. Gotra, lineage, sutra, religious canon, and clan are all illusory. The defectless Supreme Brahman is the only reality. Various things such as this and that or anything else are illusory. I, you, and others that are spoken of are all illusory. What is thought of as here and elsewhere are all illusory. All kinds of practices and secret rituals are illusory. All things in this all-embracing world are illusory. Even a cause for all this universe is totally illusory. All that appear as the seen are illusory. The Supreme Brahman, the seer, is the only reality. The concept of the entire moving and unmoving is illusory. The concept of the differentiation among all is illusory. The concept of an integral whole is illusory. The concept that the integral whole is a misconceived notion is illusory. The cause of the entire world, Brahma, is illusory. The sustainer of all, Hari, is illusory. The destroyer of the world, Hara, is illusory. The undivided Supreme Brahman is the only truth. Penance and prayers are illusory. Holy waters are illusory. The study of the Vedas is illusory. The homas, sacrifices, are illusory. Worship of Shiva and others is illusory. Mantras, mystic formulas, are illusory. The various castes, varnam, and orders of life, ashramas, are illusory. Auspicious satsang and such are illusory. The succession of times, such as past and others, are illusory. All these valueless, worldly appearances are illusory. The imperishable Supreme Brahman is the only reality. Pure soul, the various appearances that are seen do not really exist at all. Understand that any appearance arising out of Maya, delusion, is benumbing illusion. Further, I shall give you the secret definition as told by the Supreme Shiva, in the way you can understand. All the world, individuals, jivas, and the Supreme, para, are ever only the Supreme Brahman, of the nature of pure knowledge. Ignorance, which is of the nature of darkness, and all its differentiations, the mind that creates duality, and all its differentiations, the spreading world, and all its differentiations, the macrocosm of 1,000,000 galaxies, and all its differentiations, the triad of worlds, and such, and all its differentiations, the various qualities, gunas, defects, doshas, and all their modifications, and all the words of the Guru, who is the embodiment of grace, be of the certitude that all these are Brahman, of the nature of knowledge. All of the highest, the median, and the lowest, Omkara, the letter Om, the first letter, Akara, and all the letters, all actions that are variegated, good and bad, all activities that are of varying types, all things that are seen likewise, all things that are heard in different places, and all things that make the picture of this world, be of the certitude that all these are Brahman, which is pure consciousness. All things that are interdependent in various ways, all things that are described by words, all things that are rejected with contempt, all things that are accepted with pleasure, all things that offer more and more, all actions that are accomplished better and better, and all virtuous acts like bathing in holy waters and such, be of the certitude that all these are the blemishless Brahman. Be of the certitude that all that exists as manifold and indicated as this is Brahman. Be of the certitude that everything that exists always as I, is all Brahman. Whatever appears, wherever, and in whatever manner as the seen, all such appearances are Brahman, the seer. Be ever of this steadfast certitude. Hear further the highly secret and wonderful definition that was given to me by the Lord Ishwara on the exalted Kailasa mountain, which I shall now give for the benefit of all. All that which appears as differentiated is ever of the nature of differenceless consciousness alone. The nature of that extolled consciousness, which alone is the nature of the indivisible Supreme Brahman. What is thought of here as I is only consciousness. What is seen as this is only consciousness. The conditioning of pure consciousness is also only consciousness. The world as it appears is only consciousness. What is pointed out therein as you and I are also only consciousness. Space, air, and fire are all only consciousness. Water and earth are also only consciousness. All the five gods are only consciousness. The past and the future are only consciousness. The present is only consciousness. The matter that undergoes mutation is only consciousness. The qualities that are described are only consciousness. The knower and the knowledge are only consciousness. The knowledge and what is known by it are also only consciousness. The beginning and the end are also only consciousness. The big and the small are also only consciousness. Words in all their variety are only consciousness. The utterances that express the words are only consciousness. What appears as various groups is only consciousness. What follows these appearances is only consciousness. The most intense desire is only consciousness. The aversion for what was desired is only consciousness. What is denoted by here and elsewhere is only consciousness. All non-existence and all existence are only consciousness. Brahma, the maker of the manifold, is only consciousness. Vishnu, the sustainer, is only consciousness. Hara, the destroyer, is only consciousness. All the gods, demons, and men are only consciousness. All the wandering animal creation is only consciousness. All the world, moving and stationary, is only consciousness. The guru who leads and the disciple are only consciousness. The father and the sons and others are only consciousness. The seen and the seer are only consciousness. The knowledge and the knowable are only consciousness. The fixed and the changing are only consciousness. The gross and subtle bodies are only consciousness. The causal body is also only consciousness. Maya, illusion, and Mahat, projected light of absolute consciousness, are also only consciousness. The embodied and the disembodied are only consciousness. Action and cause are all only consciousness. The Vedas and Vedanta are only consciousness. Duality and non-duality are only consciousness. Directions and the directionless are only consciousness. The guardians of the directions are only consciousness. Pot and cloth and other such analogies are only consciousness. Various interactions that are seen are all only consciousness. Name and form are all only consciousness. All objects are only consciousness. Various beings are only consciousness. The expanding worlds are only consciousness. The various pranas, vital airs, that move about are only consciousness. The wavering faculties are only consciousness. The several sheaths are only consciousness. The good and bad merits due to actions are only consciousness. The changing living beings are only consciousness. Everything, ever, is only consciousness. The permanent that is fixed is only consciousness. The impermanent that is unsteady is only consciousness. The truth which is exalted, is consciousness. The non-truth, which should be shunned, is only consciousness. The steady substratum is only consciousness. The fickle superimposition is only consciousness. Various kinds of happiness and sorrow are only consciousness. All objects that are differentiated are only consciousness. The fourfold requisites for spiritual practice are only consciousness. The changeless liberation is also only consciousness. What has become modified into multiplicity is only consciousness. What the Vedas proclaim is only consciousness. What the rare scriptures reveal is only consciousness. What is reached and what is beyond reach are only consciousness. Whatever exists, wherever and howsoever, is all only consciousness. Except for consciousness, there is no bondage. Except for consciousness, there is no liberation. Except for consciousness, there is no individual, jiva. Except for consciousness, there is no Lord, Ishvara. Except for consciousness, there is no world. Except for consciousness, there is not an atom. Whatever is consciousness will nowhere be destroyed. It is of the nature of the Supreme Brahman. This word, proclaimed by Shankara, the Beneficent One, is the truth, the truth. Doubt there is none. I asseverate this, touching the protecting feet of the exalted Supreme Shiva. This is the meaning, proclaimed in all parts of the Vedas. Of this there is no doubt. Whoever hears this once, lovingly, will become the Supreme Brahman, which is the One. By the study of the Upanishads, with devotion, by offerings to the devotees of Paramashiva, the Supreme Shiva, by worship to the perfectly full Supreme Shiva in the form of a defectless divine linga, by stay in the widespread holy Shiva centers, by various other prescribed regulations, the grace of the Supreme Shiva, Brahman, shall pour forth, and the indivisible, infinite knowledge of the Self will dawn. How is one to invoke for worship in a fixed place the Supreme Shiva, who is of the nature of Spurana, flashing, sparkling, breaking forth, vibrating? How is one to offer a seat to the Supreme Shiva, who is the substratum, base of everything? How is one to offer water for washing the feet and other honors to the already pure One? How is one to bathe the self-abiding One who cannot be wetted by anything? How is one to cover with an offering of cloth the Supreme One who is all-pervasive and clothed only in space? How is one to put across the sacred thread for the One who is beyond all prescribed castes and orders of life? How is one to adorn with shining ornaments the incorporeal, undifferentiated one. How is one to anoint with sweet-smelling sandal paste the one with no connections or attachments? How is one to worship with fragrant flowers the one who is devoid of any vasanas, scent of anamnesis, tendency? How is one to offer with love, incense and light to the one who is noseless and is self-illumined? How is one to offer food, naivedya, to the one who, in reality, is immersed in bliss? How is one to offer betals to the one who himself indeed delights all the worlds? How is one to offer all other honors? How is one to offer the camphor light to the luminous consciousness that reveals fire and such other lights? How is one to circumambulate around the endless one? How is one to fall in full prostration in front of the ever non-dual one? How is one to praise with words the one who is beyond the reach of the mind and words? How is one to release to his usual abode after worship the one who pervades everything internal and external? Though such external worship with all these honors is inappropriate for the Lord, Ishvara, listen, son, with attention and interest to the worship of the changeless Shambhu, bestower of happiness, existence, knowledge, bliss, by internal bhavana, conviction, as expounded in the knowledgeable Vedanta texts. The conviction that there is no such thing as Maya, illusion, and that I remain as the delusionless Supreme Shiva, is the Abhahana, invocation. The conviction that I am the pure Supreme Shiva, changeless and abiding in himself, is the offering of a spotless asana, seat. The conviction that I am not affected by good or bad accretions, consequent on connections of the mind, is the offering of water for padya, the washing of the feet. Renunciation of the long-standing, widespread, and fickle avidya, ignorance, is the respectful libation to the linga of the self. The conviction that all will drink of the drops of the unimpeded shower of the bliss that is the Supreme Shiva is the offering of achamana, a sip of water. Hear further, son, the mode of performing abhisheka, the ablution. The contemplation that all the worlds are moist with the perfectly full, delightful rain that is I, and I am the unblemished Brahman that cannot get wet with the water of action, is the effective ablution. The determination that I am the perfect fullness that cannot be covered in the least by anything else is the appropriate offering of a garment to the linga, symbol of Shiva, of the Supreme Self. The meditation that I am the Supreme Brahman, the power that wears the three strands of the three gunas, qualities, which constitute the world, is the offering of the sacred thread to the linga of the Supreme Self. Determining that I am the Self, which is incorporeal and totally devoid of all distinguishing marks, is the offering of ornaments. The contemplation that I am the power entirely pervading the world with various scents of past impressions, vasanas, is the offering of sandal paste. Renouncing the vrittis, modes, that are the consequences of the three gunas, qualities, constitutes the offering of rice grains to the primordial linga. Rejecting the threefold division of preceptor, I, and Ishwara, Lord, is the offering of the bilva leaves. Avoiding the bad odor of the vasanas, impressions of the past, is the waving of incense. The constant bhavana, conviction that I am the Supreme Shiva, without qualities and self-illumined, is the offering of light. The understanding that I am the several crores of universes is the food offering to the Supreme Shiva. The undivided mode that is the enjoyment of the changeless Brahman bliss constitutes the offering of the Anjana, seasonings. The incessant cleaning with knowledge of the sticky polluted remains, called fundamental fickle ignorance, constitutes the offering of water for the washing of hands. Renouncing the attachment to sensual pleasures is the offering of tambula, betel packs. The pure knowledge of Brahman, which dispels the darkness of ignorance, is the glowing camphor offering. The perception that all that appears as multiplicity is the one Brahman is the offering of a pure flower garland, O pure one, to the Supreme Shiva Linga, the mass of bliss. The contemplation that I am the perfectly full, blissful self is the scattering of flowers in worship. The contemplation that the universe with its myriad activities revolves around me constitutes the prescribed circumambulation. The contemplation that all will ever bow to me, and I shall never bow to anyone, ever constitutes the bow to the great linga of the self. The thought that there is no trace of name or form in me, who am the universe, constitutes the singing of the exalted names, which is a prescribed feature of the worship of the Supreme. The contemplation that there is no need for any deed for me in this world constitutes other honors to be extended in worship by the mind. The absorption in meditation, rid of all delusions of the mind and distractions, constitutes the release of the linga, the Supreme Shiva, without parts, back to the usual abode. One who thus performs this pure worship even once, as told in Vedanta, will remove vasanas, past impressions, tendencies, and all ajnana, ignorance, and sorrow, and attain the great bliss of liberation. Ishwara, the Lord, in His compassion, will bestow knowledge and liberation, gradually, step by step, even to those who do not have the due capacity to perform worship as now explained, and who perform external worship with love to the Supreme Shiva in accordance with the prescribed rituals on images and the like. Sutta, who is ever all-knowing, told all the great sages that Skanda, in his endless compassion, expounded to Jagishavya how the sage Ribhu lovingly explained to Nadaga the definition of the Supreme Principle in the same manner that the Supreme Shiva, in his graciousness, taught. It is the limitless form of the spotless Ishwara, the Lord, in a state of joyous dance that explains here. that the apparent variegated multiplicity is only an illusion, confers the enlightenment that the substratum of this unreality is only knowledge, and gives the procedure of performance of this worship of the Attributeless in the mind.